I just wrapped up my first Discovery Mode campaign on Spotify. I ran it for the month of June, and now that it's July, it's time to look at some results. So let's jump right into the results of my first Discovery Mode campaign. You can see that I ran it in June of 2023. It ran from June 1st to June 30th. Now I have 1,583 listeners, which is the total number of unique listeners streaming from radio and autoplay, including new listeners. I have a 330% listener lift, and then I have 1,351 new listeners. Pretty substantial increase in listenership through radio and autoplay throughout this month. I had 16 saves and 7 playlist adds, 2,300 streams and some change, 365% stream lift. And now we come down to the songs that I selected. So these 8 songs are seeing more streams in radio and autoplay compared to before Discovery Mode. So the number one song that saw the biggest increase in my catalog was my song We Can Run, with almost a 1,300% stream lift and a little bit over 1,000% listener lift, all in the context of radio and autoplay. Now, before we dig into what these results mean and how they sort of translated over by song and for me globally as an artist, let's talk about how to interpret this song performance. Now, the good news is they have this little link right here, how to interpret song performance. And if we click on that link, we come to this page, Understanding Your Discovery Mode Performance. Now, I'm not going to read this entire page to you. You can come to this if you want to, but the main thing this says is that essentially Discovery Mode, these stats in this report are comparing just the numbers from radio and autoplay over the last 28-day period compared to the 28-day period before Discovery Mode was started. So it's looking at May for me, specifically in this instance, and comparing May to June just in the context of radio and autoplay. So it's not taking into account streams from anywhere else, my profile, on the album, other algorithmic playlists, none of that. It's only comparing before and after stats for radio and autoplay. So let's just take We Can Run, for instance. It was the number one song that saw the greatest increase from this Discovery Mode campaign. So we'll click on We Can Run and we'll go to the song's profile. Now this song historically has not gotten a ton of love, and that's cool. You know, there's songs like that in everybody's catalog. It just happens. What's interesting to me is that it saw this huge increase in traffic, but if I expand this out, we'll just go all of May and all of June. You can see that it's relatively the same the whole time. And if we come down here to May 1st, we had a little bit of a bump, but then it stays the same the whole time. Now this is global streams for the song, which tells me that it may have gotten more streams on radio and autoplay, but it received fewer streams in my catalog and in other contexts compared to how it normally does. So basically traded one for the other, which I find odd. In May, this was all sort of normal. It's coming from all the normal places. And in June, it's getting more traffic from streams in radio and autoplay, but the main level of numbers of streams is the same, basically. So this kind of like, this is a little bit suspect to me. Like, it feels like one got traded for the other and it stayed the same. So there really was no benefit to me for this song, but Spotify now takes a 30% cut of basically most of the streams that it got in the month of June, even though I didn't get more streams for the track. So just a little odd to me. The same kind of thing happens with other songs. So Lions has historically been a pretty successful song for me. You can see that the streams actually kind of went down in June for Lions. They kind of ramped up towards the end of May and then sort of ramped back down, and maybe a little bit of bump here at the end to give credit where it's due, but basically the same again. It's interesting to me that it feels like it traded one for the other in multiple contexts. If I look through all of these songs, it kind of tells a similar story. And it kind of carries over to my global metrics as well. In fact, those are a little bit worse. So if I come over to my audience tab in Spotify for artists, you can see that I had an 11% drop in my listeners over the last month. And that has traditionally been either even or increasing. Going down by 11% is very rare for me. My ads generally drive between 0% and I would say probably 10% increase month on month, depending on algorithmic traffic and stuff like that. But the number is constantly growing because I'm constantly running ads. And in the month of June, it dropped. weird. If I come to streams, I saw a 15% drop in streams over the last month. That too is kind of odd. And then I come to followers, and the follower increase, though it is up by 147 over the last 28 days, it's actually lower than it normally is. I usually am getting around 200 followers per month. Now, I generally attribute this solely to my ads, so it could be that my ads have something that needs to be adjusted. I can't reasonably blame this on discovery mode. I just think it's odd that the rate of growth that I've seen over the month of June is lower across the board in a profile sense than it was before I used discovery mode. I'm asking myself this question: did discovery mode help me at all? Or did it hurt me? Or was it kind of an even trade? It feels like stream-wise it was an even trade, but it feels like as an artist for my profile, for the healthy growth of it, it actually kind of hurt me. And I think that it might be because I probably shouldn't have gotten access to discovery mode in the first place because of the number of listeners I had to begin with. If you go to Spotify's page for getting access to discovery mode, they say very clearly you have to have at least 25,000 monthly listeners. We found that discovery mode works best with an audience of this size or above. Now, myself included, I have seen a lot of artists recently who are getting access to discovery mode who don't meet this criteria. We're all on the right distributor, obviously, so we have access to it. But, I did not have 25,000 average monthly listeners when this opened up to me. And I've seen it happen with other artists too. Artists who have 5,000 average monthly listeners are getting access to discovery mode. So it says it's still in beta. Maybe this is something they're testing to see how this goes, opening it up to smaller artists. But for me, it seems like it really was not that beneficial. If anything, it seems like I'm actually giving away a little bit more of my revenue to Spotify in exchange for basically the same number of streams. Now, I'm going to continue testing this. I'm not just going to give up after 1 month. I'm going to run a campaign for July. I'm running a campaign for July currently, and I'm definitely going to run a campaign for August. I want to do it for a full quarter and then reassess whether or not this has significant value for me personally as an artist. Also, it's worth saying results may vary, right? So what has happened for me may not happen for you, may not happen for him or her. Like, it's going to be different for all artists. This is just what has occurred inside of my profile. So the good news is it didn't completely step me backward, but it doesn't really appear to have helped at all. So we'll see in months 2 or 3. I'll know more, obviously, once I get my royalty payouts through my distributor as well. That will be more illuminating for me too. So we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep testing it, and I'll report back after another couple of campaigns and see if things have improved. So if you want to check that out, you want to follow along on this specific journey and kind of all the journeys, make sure to hit that subscribe button before you take off. Now, at the end here, if you want to see the first part of this sort of mini series where I set up my discovery mode campaign, you can check out this video right here. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.